Hi, I'm Score, and today I'm going to talk about the game that became my unexpected game of the year 2023. Before we dive into the game itself, I want to give you a short summary of my Souls-like history. In 2023 I tried Demon Souls and gave up. Too hard, too frustrating. In 2018 I tried Bloodborne only because it was free on PlayStation Plus. I struggled. Again. But I managed to beat it and fell in love with this type of gameplay. Over the years, I have played all the From Software games and earned all their platinum trophies. They feel so good. After that, I tried some Souls-likes from other developers, Lords of the Fallen 2015, The Surge 2018, but none of them captured the essence of a Souls-like game by From Software. That's why my most anticipated game hasn't been announced yet, Bloodborne 2. Why do I love that game so much? In short, it's an intriguing world to explore, mixed with fast-paced combat and a fair and satisfying progression system. It feels polished and smooth. It feels like an original. The last From Software game I played was Elden Ring in 2022. I'm a huge open world fan, but Elden Ring couldn't capture the essence of Bloodborne. Finding a shortcut after a tough fight is a way more satisfying experience than exploring an endless world where the dungeon felt mostly similar. Elden Ring was too open for my personal taste. Don't at me, Elden Ring has a great open world, but I prefer Bloodborne's level design by a long shot. So, I was craving a new satisfying Souls-like game, but I didn't think a non-From Software studio could deliver that experience. I don't watch many game trailers or previews or even reviews of games because hype destroys gaming. I was burned too many times and I didn't even get burned by No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk 2077 and Starfield. I learned relatively early that high expectations often ruin games for me. The less I know of a game, the better. Almost 2 years had passed without a satisfying Souls-like experience. The craving increased. At the end of 2023, I bought a few games that were labeled Souls-like, Lords of the Fallen 2023 and Lies of P. I couldn't decide which game I should play, so I let my community decide. You guys, thank you for that. The majority voted for Lies of P, and on December 28th, I started playing. 11 days later. Playthroughs completed, 3. Hours played, 103 hours. Phew, that was great. Absolutely amazing. What happened? See, I didn't know anything about the game, other than it's a Souls-like. I didn't expect anything from it, I wasn't hyped, and that was the best thing that could have happened. At first I was like, it's no blood. Oh, okay, that's cool. This feels nice. Great world design. I wish the world design was a bit darker and grittier. Everything seems so clean and bright, but the combat feels good. Usually I play RPGs in a big suit of armor with an even bigger weapon. So I chose to start with a longsword, but eventually I switched to a fast fire dagger that carried me basically through the rest of the game, only supported by a badass katana. Exploring the world felt exciting. The combat was challenging, but the progress felt satisfying. I wanted more. The further I progressed in the game, the darker it got. Grittier, a little bit scarier, and definitely more challenging. But I wasn't really frustrated, because the game gave me enough tools and options to overcome one challenge after the other. And my experience with other Souls-like games definitely helped too. The hub was beautiful and the characters easily grew close to my heart. I felt the need to protect them, which is a feeling I hadn't felt in a while. It took me 60 hours to finish my first playthrough. Initially I had planned to reload a save file and get the other 2 endings in quick successions, but the auto-upload function on PS5 denied me that.
Denied. Finish him!
In hindsight, that was a great thing. And so I decided to go into New Game Plus. My stats were high enough to compensate for the increased enemy health and the damage, and the frustration was tolerable. And this time I felt even more powerful. My knowledge of the game increased the fun. After 25 hours I watched a bad ending. But I had messed up some of the side quests. That's why I started a third playthrough. A new game, not New Game Plus Plus. It was too intimidating, to be honest. It took me another 18 hours to finish my third and final playthrough. My highlights. My 2 to 3 weapons that carried me through all of this. My 2 favorite outfits. The music in the final section of the game. So full of hope and yet melancholic. It was perfect because I had just fought the hardest boss up to that point. All the pressure fell off of my shoulders. Yet, my battle scars hurt. But I was determined. All these feelings were represented in the music. Great. The run back to the boss arenas were mostly short and fair. Despite the difficulty, the game gives you enough options to make it easier. I appreciate that. So, the frustration wasn't as big as I expected. There were definitely some bosses that kicked my butt. Plenty of weapons, weapon combinations, and most importantly, plenty of upgrade material to upgrade multiple weapons. I'd call Lies of P the most convenient Souls-like game. Fast travel from the start, respec of stats and abilities gets introduced around halfway into the game, and leveling mistakes can be remedied early. Loading times on the PS5 were great. All of the above encourage the player to explore the world and try different weapons and playstyles, which is a very good design choice and the core of the game. My lowlights. Nitpick. Only 2 of the outfits match my taste, so no fashion Souls-like. Sometimes the reset points felt too close to each other. I didn't mind too much since it meant that the game was a little bit easier. Shortcuts were plenty available. Both the reset points and the shortcuts didn't feel as rewarding as in From Software games, but they were more like a short burst of happiness instead of this big relief. And my biggest complaint was the perfect parry window. The core gameplay mechanic is built around perfect guard, aka parrying. But the time for that was so short that in most cases I got punished for trying to parry. Excuse me, perfect guard. A perfect guard destroys an enemy's posture and opens it up to a fatal attack, visceral attack, backstab, whatever you want to call it. Sekiro says hi. Fortunately, the game has an item that helps the player to break the guard. Final thoughts. The game intrigued me from the start and grew on me with every hour I played. It took me a bit to get used to the lighter setting, but it progressed in the right direction. The game takes a lot of inspiration from the Souls formula, especially from the gameplay perspective, but it also adds enough new things to keep it fresh for veterans of the genre. If you are a Souls-like fan, I recommend the game. But what if you are a beginner with no experience? The first Souls-like experience will always be the hardest and the most rewarding, and Lies of P has a story that isn't as hidden as in From Software games. That is a big plus in my opinion. The characters are likable, the world is beautiful. I leave it up to you if you want Lies of P to be your entrance to a whole new world of games. Bloodborne was mine, and I don't regret going through that door. But Lies of P is a worthy brother from another mother. Before I started Lies of P, I had played a few games that were released in 2023. Great games. Resident Evil 4 Remake, Hogwarts Legacy, Dredge. In my head, I had given Game of the Year award to Dredge, a small indie game about a fisherman in a world with Lovecraftian aspects. Bloodborne says hi. It's definitely worth checking out, but the game was relatively short. The platinum took me 3.5 days. Lies of P gave me a proper epic AAA game feeling. I played it for 103 hours in 11 days. That says everything, I guess. It's a game I had so few points of criticism on that it exceeded my low expectations by 100 miles. That's how Lies of P became my unexpected game of the year in 2023, and it's also my first platinum of 2024. A great start to a new year. What was your game of the year in 2023? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'm Score, and I talk about games mostly from a trophy hunter perspective, but I also talk about how to approach our favorite hobby from a healthy perspective. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing. Here's another great experience I had in 2023. I even suffered more than in Lies of P.